What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video about the retro single speed racer that I've built. In this video I wanted to explain about the rear hub because I didn't actually explain fully what I did with that in terms of the spacers, and I know that's one of the big questions about making single speed and fixed gear bikes out of old racers. And after that, I'll do some updates about what I've been doing with the rest of the bike as well. So things are looking a little bit different, as you can see. Both the tyres are fully working, which is nice. So let's get on and talk about this rear hub, or rear cassette, should I say. So firstly, what I need to note to you guys is that this is using the original cassette that came with the bike. I took it apart and took all the gears off apart from the one that I needed. And if you didn't watch my previous video, this hub locks using the last gear. It's a very, very odd design from Shimano, and I don't think they actually make them like this anymore. It'll just be some kind of nut instead because, yeah, it's not very practical. That's just why I have this kind of 2-gear configuration, but it never changes, obviously. It only ever stays where it is there. So you can see here that there's a combination of spacers. There's grey ones and there's black ones. So the grey ones were the ones that were originally on the bike. They were between the gears on the rear cassette. And basically what you're trying to do with a single speed or a fixed gear bike is create a straight line to the front. And I'm getting this as close as I can. There we go, that's better. You can see here, I've managed to do a pretty good job of getting that in a straight line. So the way I did that was a combination of spacers behind and in front. I hope you can see from this camera angle. They're a bit dirty, the ones behind, but they are still the stock ones. So 2 behind there, and then the cog itself, or the gear itself, 2 in front. And you can see there then that there's some of these black spacers. Now these black spacers are just ones that I got on eBay. They were really, really cheap. I think they were about £10, but I got about 5 of them. Now I've got more grey spacers, but I needed to take up a specific amount of space. So I think there was about 10mm left there, if I'm right, or it might be different. I can't fully remember, but basically what I did was bought a pack of spacers, which I knew I could build the difference, the gap that was left between the nut here, which is a gear, and those grey spacers. So I needed to fill that space so that this gear here, if I can try and point to this at the same time, this gear here ends there really. There's not much more in terms of thread. So I needed to fill that space between there and there. And the grey ones wouldn't have done it, the maths wouldn't have worked. So I had to get some spacers that had some different sizes in the pack. So that's what I did. I just ordered a set of spacers off eBay, and then I could tighten this against it, which acts as the lock and a gear. So yeah, it's like I mentioned in my previous video, it's not the best aesthetic, and if you do know a way of just tightening this off with something else, please let me know. But I do believe these sizes are quite hard to get hold of these days, so that's why I'm just going to stick with this. And yeah, that's pretty much all I had to do, and I managed to get a pretty straight line, as you can see there. So have a look what spacers you need once you've stripped all your cassette down, if that's the way you're going about it, the same as me. Strip all your cassette down, see how far your tightening ring will tighten, and then measure that space between the cog and the end of the thread, and that's what you have to fill with the spacer. And as I mentioned, don't forget to keep that chain in a straight line. That's what you're going for. If you don't get a straight line running to the front here, you're going to get your chain hopping off all the time, and I'm guessing as well your strokes probably aren't going to be as efficient, so you definitely want to try and do that. Conveniently, I just managed to be able to get it done with that little pack of spacers and the stock ones as well. So I hope that helps you guys out, those of you that are looking to convert your cassettes or rear hubs, if that's the correct term, into a single speed or a fixed C. That's what you need to do in terms of spacers. Not too difficult, but it can be a bit daunting. So in terms of updates for the rest of the bike, as I mentioned, both the Conti tyres are on now. They're just kind of entry-level ones, I believe. They were 30 quid for the pair. And I haven't ridden them yet. I'm going to go ride them now for the first time. So there's a much more simple look about this bike going on, and I'm really starting to like it. I've tightened up the rear brake, and as I mentioned I was going to do, I have done. And that is tape around with electrical tape over the blue brake cable that I got. So that's all looking nice. You can see up at the front as well, I've done the same thing. So there's kind of a black, white and green theme going on now. And I know that it's not an exact match with the text, but it's pretty close, and I'm happy with that. About that seat angle, I'm just experimenting at the moment, so, you know, that's probably not going to be the final thing. But what I've done is raise my post a bit higher and then put a bit of lean on my seat, just to take the pressure off, well, you know where, and hopefully make my riding a little bit more comfortable. So that's the progress with the bike so far. New tyres, tightened up brake, blacked out the cable, changed the seat position, but that could change on this ride that I'm going on now. And all in all, it's looking pretty nice. Next update, I think, is going to be new pedals, as I've already mentioned, because these pedals are just very, very uncomfortable to cycle on. They're quite sharp, and yeah, you can just kind of feel them through your shoe, so I don't really like them. I'm going to get some bigger kind of BMX style ones, which are just nice and flat under the foot. And then I don't really think there's much else I can do with this bike, to be honest. Probably redo the tape. I was in a rush the first time I did it because I was going out on a ride before I started doing any of these videos, and threw it on and it didn't come out great, so that needs redoing. You can just see, and sod's law as well, my bike fell over in the wind, and I've got a little bit of a rip as well, so that was really, really annoying. But you can see here, I haven't really cut it properly, so we're getting this horrible overlap, and that's the same on both sides. So yeah, I really need to tidy that up. But all in all, I'm really starting to like the look of this bike again, and I think it's really simple, very clean aesthetic, and yeah, I just think it's looking nice. So I'd love to know what you think about this one. If there's any improvements that you think I could make to this, please let me know in the comments below. My friend has got a blue drinks holder that he said I could have. Now, blue is kind of off with my bike now, so I may have to go and get a black one. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for joining me again, guys. That's the update with this bike. We'll be doing more content where I get out of the house soon, and there'll be other bikes coming onto the channel as well. Like I mentioned, there's not an awful lot more I can do with this bike. If you think there is something that I could do with it, which would be cool, please leave a comment below, and I'll look into it and how much it is. A lot of these things are kind of cheap and cheerful, so I haven't got loads of money to throw at this. And to be honest, eventually, I would actually like to just have a single speed frame with the horizontal dropouts rather than these weird angled ones, and something with a bit better geometry that's smaller as well, because like I've mentioned in previous videos, it's a very, very tall bike. So yeah, not ideal, but okay for now. Hopefully see you in the next video, guys. Keep cycling. I'll be back soon.